Sister-in-law ghosts me and never sends me RSVP but shows up to my party. On time and demands this. She didn't just crash my party, she stormed in like she owned it, her heels clicking louder than the jazz band I'd paid a fortune for. My sister-in-law, Vanessa, who hadn't answered a single text or call in months, stood there smirking, demanding the spotlight at my meticulously planned engagement celebration. I swear, the audacity was so thick you could have cut it with the cake knife. 6 months ago, I'd sent out invitations for the biggest night of my life, my fiancé, Ethan, and I had spent weeks curating every detail of the garden venue draped in fairy lights, the five-course menu, the live band playing our favorite songs. This wasn't just a party, it was a declaration of our love, a moment to share with the people who mattered most. I'd poured my heart into it, double-checking RSVPs, agonizing over seating charts, and even handwriting personalized notes for every guest. Everyone responded, except Vanessa. Ethan's older sister, the queen of hot and cold, had ghosted me yet again. No reply to the embossed invitation, no acknowledgement of my follow-up texts, not even a courtesy call. I shouldn't have been surprised. Vanessa had always treated me like an afterthought, but it stung. Still, I held out hope. I left a seat for her at the family table, just in case. The night of the party arrived, and the garden buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses. Ethan looked like a dream in his tailored suit, his eyes sparkling every time he caught my gaze. I wore a deep emerald dress that hugged my curves, feeling like the heroine of my own story. Guests mingled. The air smelled of jasmine and roasted lamb, and for a moment, everything was perfect. Then, like a storm cloud rolling over a clear sky, Vanessa appeared. She didn't slink in quietly. No, Vanessa made an entrance. Her red dress was so loud it could wake a coma patient, and her laugh, sharp and deliberate, cut through the band's rendition of "At Last." Heads turned. Whispers followed. She strode straight to the bar, plucked a champagne flute from a tray, and scanned the crowd like a predator picking her prey. My stomach twisted. Ethan, standing beside me, stiffened. "Did you invite her?" he whispered. I could only nod, my throat tight. I hadn't just invited her, I'd begged her to come. And now, here she was, unannounced, unapologetic, and undeniably magnetic. I forced a smile and approached her, determined to keep the night civil. "Vanessa, you made it," I said, my voice sweeter than I felt. Her eyes flicked over me, sizing me up like I was a rival on her turf. "Of course I did," she said, her tone dripping with condescension. "You didn't think I'd miss my little brother's big night, did you?" The words were innocent enough, but her smirk said otherwise. She wasn't here for Ethan. She was here to make a point. Before I could respond, she leaned in, her perfume overwhelming. "I need to speak at the toast," she said, not asked, demanded. My jaw dropped. The toast was reserved for our parents, our best friends, the people who'd been there through every step of our relationship. Vanessa, who'd ignored us for months, who'd never even congratulated us on our engagement, wanted to take center stage. "We already have the lineup set," I stammered, trying to hold my ground. Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I saw something raw, anger. Maybe, or something deeper. "I'm family," she snapped. "I deserve to be heard." Ethan stepped between us, his voice calm but firm. "Vanessa, this isn't the time." But she wasn't listening. She turned to the crowd, raised her glass, and called for attention. The band stopped. The guests froze. My heart pounded as Vanessa launched into a speech not about our love, but about her. She spoke of family loyalty, of sacrifices she'd made for Ethan, of how she'd always been there for him. Every word was a jab, painting me as the outsider who'd stolen her brother. The crowd was captivated, hanging on her charisma. But I saw the truth. This was her revenge, her way of reclaiming control. I wanted to scream, to yank the microphone from her hand, but I stood there, paralyzed, as she rewrote our story in front of everyone we loved. Ethan's face was unreadable, torn between his sister and me. When she finally finished, the applause was polite but uneasy. She turned to me, her smile triumphant. "You're welcome," she whispered, brushing past me toward the bar. The rest of the night blurred. Guests complimented the food, the music, but all I could hear was Vanessa's voice, her words looping in my head. Why did she hate me? What had I done to deserve this? Ethan tried to reassure me, but his apologies felt hollow. "She's just Vanessa," he said, as if that explained everything. But it didn't. I couldn't shake the feeling that this was bigger than a party crash, bigger than a stolen toast. The next morning, I found a note slipped under our door. It was from Vanessa, written in her sharp, elegant handwriting. "You'll never be enough for him. Not like me." My hands shook as I read it. This wasn't just jealousy, it was a declaration of war. I showed Ethan, expecting him to be as outraged as I was. But he just sighed. "She's always been dramatic," he said. "Let it go. Let it go." How could I, when she'd humiliated me in front of everyone, when she'd made it clear she'd never accept me? I spent the next week replaying the night, questioning everything. Had I been too quick to dismiss Vanessa's absence? Had I missed something in her silence? I dug through old messages, piecing together the history of our strained relationship. Vanessa had always been the golden child, the one who could do no wrong in her family's eyes. When Ethan and I got together, she'd been cordial but distant, her smiles never reaching her eyes. I'd tried to win her over, inviting her to dinners, asking for her advice, but she'd always kept me at arm's length. Now, I realized her ghosting wasn't neglect, it was strategy. I decided to confront her, not with anger, but with honesty. I called her, expecting another unanswered voicemail, but to my surprise, she picked up. "What do you want, Claire?" she asked, her voice cold. I took a deep breath. "I want to understand why you hate me, why you crashed my party, why you wrote that note." For a moment, there was silence. Then, she laughed a brittle, bitter sound. "You think this is about you," she said. "This has never been about you." She told me everything. How she'd raised Ethan after their parents' messy divorce. How she'd sacrificed her own dreams to keep their family together. How she felt like I was stealing the one person who'd always needed her. "He's my brother," she said, her voice breaking, "and you're taking him away." I was stunned. All this time, I'd seen her as the villain, but she was just scared. Scared of losing the only family she had left. I didn't forgive her right away. Her actions were selfish, cruel even, but they came from a place of pain. I invited her to coffee, and to my surprise, she showed up. We talked for hours, not about the party, but about Ethan, about their childhood, about the weight she carried. She didn't apologize, not outright, but she listened, and for the first time, I saw her not as my enemy, but as a woman who'd been fighting her own battles. The party was a turning point, not just for me and Vanessa, but for me and Ethan. We had to face the cracks in our relationship, the unspoken tensions, the loyalties we hadn't addressed. It wasn't easy. There were tears, arguments, moments when I wondered if love was enough. But we worked through it, together, and came out stronger. Vanessa and I aren't friends. Not yet. But we're trying. She's coming to the wedding. And this time, she RSVP'd. Looking back, I realized the party wasn't ruined. It was a mirror, reflecting the messy, complicated truth of family. Vanessa's outburst forced us to confront what we'd been avoiding. And in a strange way, I'm grateful. Love isn't just flowers and fairy lights. It's navigating the storms, forgiving the unforgivable, and choosing to build something better. What do you think? Was Vanessa wrong to crash the party and demand the spotlight? Or was she just protecting what mattered most to her? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear where you stand on this tangled web of family and loyalty.